Welcome to Dave's Adventure page. Today I am going to give a very interesting topic. How did the T-Rex really sound like? Do we have any evidence? You can hear the real and natural sounds they made 250 million years ago. Watch this video until the end without skipping. Use headphones for better sound effects.
What sort of sounds did dinosaurs actually make? Nobody has ever heard of dinosaurs roaring on Earth. But that hasn't prevented researchers and movie makers from becoming curious. How did dinosaurs make noise? Which, while frightening noise is unreal. Despite the fact that dinosaurs were reptiles. The roars from Jurassic Park were primarily built using mammal noises from the recordings of tigers, koalas, dolphins, and elephants. There are no scientific basics for a T-Rex sounding like a donkey. The filmmakers were attempting to evoke the sensation of being in the presence of a dinosaur, Jurassic Park sound. Not because there are scientific explanations for why a T-Rex sounds like a donkey. Designer Gary Rydstrom once laughed in response to a scientist's critical question about the movie and said, "It is a movie. Is it the real sound that came out of the T-Rex 250 million years ago? So, what does it sound like?" Figuring out what dinosaurs actually sounded like is an almost impossible task, because scientists can't exactly dig out a fossilized roar. Most of the sound-producing structures are soft tissues or less resilient hard tissues, as per the paleontologist. Understanding how dinosaurs communicate helps us better comprehend the environment in which they lived and provides insight into their behavior. Scientists can look to dinosaur relatives that are still living to determine what a real dinosaur voice may have sounded like. Crocodilians rumble in a low tone. To recreate the sounds of dinosaurs, we can study their living counterparts. They might also share characteristics, such as the way they produce noises, if they share an ancestor. Crocodilians are one such related species. Crocodiles, alligators, caimans, who share a common ancestor with dinosaurs that lived around 250 million years ago.
The T-Rex is shown in movies as having a mouth that opens to roar. But if T-Rexes were more probable crocodilians, they might have had a lower-pitched closed-mouth rumble instead. They will rumble so loudly throughout the ocean. Larger animals typically produce lower-pitched sounds compared to smaller ones. It is therefore likely that a giant dinosaur, many times larger than a modern crocodile, formerly emitted an extremely low-pitched, closed-mouth crocodilian rumble. In light of this, many of the sounds made by dinosaurs could have been mistaken for ultra-low-pitched.
Oh, he's doing the water too.
It's vibrating.
Doing the water too.
It's vibrating. But look how they're just performing for us, right?
Therefore, a lot of the sounds made by dinosaurs may have been difficult to hear if they really did have an ultra-low pitch like crocodilians. The sound may have truly been felt in the legs or chest of a human if they had been transported back in time. Although they are not the closest relatives of dinosaurs, crocodiles are a decent place to start when trying to imagine what dinosaurs would have sounded like. So how can birds be able to teach us about the sounds made by dinosaurs? Birds employ a syrinx, a voice organ deep in the chest, close to the larynx, the vocal, an organ found in the throat of most vertebrates. Small birds can produce such loud noises because their syrinxes are placed deep within the chest, which allows them to emit sound more effectively. A syrinx really has two openings, unlike a larynx, allowing birds to simultaneously emit multiple tones. But if birds are basically little dinosaurs, why even think about crocodilian sounds if they can sing a duet with themselves? But why even take into account crocodilian sounds if birds are basically little dinosaurs? The discovery of syrinxes in dinosaurs would offer up a world of acoustic possibilities. Large, flightless birds like ostriches or emus, which can make a variety of whistles, guttural bellows, and throaty clicks, may have sounded similar to dinosaurs. But the stranger the sound would have been for a larger dinosaur. A syrinx would have enabled a dinosaur to simultaneously produce two noises. It's also conceivable that the sounds made by dinosaurs were a hybrid of birds and crocodilians. They might have been able to combine the noises of crocodilians with those of birds with open mouths. Based on what we learned from paleontologists. Rex sound. How did Rex truly sound? Use headphones for the best effect.
What did the T-Rex sound like? you wouldn't be in the minority to believe that the T-Rex sounded something like this.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
This sound is probably one of the most recognizable sound effects in all of film, terrifying cinema goers for many years. It was created by combining a baby elephant, crocodile, and tiger roar together. But is it really what the T-Rex sounded like? For years we've speculated what the Tyrannosaurus would have sounded like, using animal sounds to try and replicate it. The howls of wolves, roars of tigers, and the trumpeting of elephants. These sounds have resonated with us throughout history and informed us on whether something's big, small, or threatening. But have we been looking at it all wrong? Well, to find out, we have to look towards the state of Texas. Professors at the University of Texas have been researching on what the T-Rex would have sounded like, and instead of looking at modern-day mammals for research, they've been looking at birds and alligators, close relatives to the dinosaurs. And they say that the T-Rex wouldn't have roared at all, but instead it would have made a sound that's less loud and much more unsettling. They found this out by scanning the brain case of a Tyrannosaurus fossil, which contained outlines of the hearing organs. It turns out that the T-Rex had extremely sensitive hearing organs, and it was especially good at picking up low-frequency sounds, even lower than most humans can even hear. And it wouldn't just have been heard, it would have been felt. They stated that the T-Rex would have sounded something like the Jaws theme. Using audio editing software, I've replicated what the T-Rex would have sounded like, and for the first time in 66 million years, you're about to hear the distinct sound of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it would have sounded something like this. The T-Rex wouldn't have the need to open its mouth thanks to closed mouth vocalization. This is common amongst birds and reptiles, and the noise would have travelled through vibrations. This sound would not only be the most terrifying noise you would have heard, but also felt, as it vibrated through your spine, getting louder and louder as it drew closer. Chris Packham of the BBC had this to say: "There's a sort of primal fear that's associated with sounds like that. When you think about it, the T-Rex didn't need to roar, it needed to be able to communicate over the huge areas in which it hunted. It's the same sound that horror films use to scare audiences, which begs the question, is it in our nature to be terrified of these low-frequency sounds? And are all animals scared of the same sound too? It may not be the sound fans of films like Jurassic Park were hoping, but it's definitely equally as terrifying in its own right." So, there you have it. The T-Rex roar heard for the first time in 66 million years, and you're some of the first to hear it.